Morning from balmy Buffalo. I'm Mike Shough. Temperatures here, late April, well into the 70s already today. Best ball summer indeed. We've been chastised for not getting to the topic we're promoting in the thumbnail. Today, RJ Harvey, Jalen McMillan, risers and fallers. I don't know how we avoid it. I think we're going to make that work today. From the West Coast, Pat Kerrane, Jacob Sanderson. From the Heartland, Davis Maddock. Let's go. Post-draft ADP chasing, April 29th, 2025.
In underdog best ball, ADP is set by two separate yet equally important groups. Streamers that set the market and the slappies that chase it. These are their stories.
So, Pat, so to speak, wears the green dot. He has the green dot. Davis used that term today, which means that Pat puts us on the air, old school. I thought of, when I heard that, who would we all be on a defense? Here's my take. So Pat wears the green dot. He's the Mike linebacker. He has to be. He calls the plays. Davis is the small but scrappy, feisty dog in him corner. You know, I'm
the seventh corner that only plays when someone else gets hurt. I'm there to be a punt gunner.
No, man, you're on the field. You're on the field.
You're Jacob, the nickel corner, man. You're the
Jacob, I think, is our lanky edge rusher. You know, he's our Greg Rousseau or better. And I think I'm your run stuffer.
Yeah. You're the nose guard.
Right.
Yes.
I can play well into my 30s. I can play well into my 30s. You know, I'm just going to sort of take up space, and you guys are going to.
I think we could drop Jacob back into coverage sometimes. He's got a good understanding of.
I'm versatile.
Playbook. Yeah, he's versatile.
Yeah.
The Bills had Mario Williams in 2014. You know, he was dominant. Rex Ryan shows up, and he's like, "I'm going to want you to play in coverage." Sometimes he's like, "I quit." Mario just decided I'm just going to quit football instead.
Did he quit at halftime like Vontae, or
no, not that bad. He just sort of played. He play quit. I mean, he was on the field, but he was just like not the same player anymore. Live quit. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Dare I risk it before we get to everything? Can we talk about Shedeur Sanders? Like, I know everybody did. The dust has settled. It's so interesting, though. I mean, it really was an all-time thing that was happening last weekend. A guy who was once like 1A, 1B in this draft goes in the 5th round to a team that drafted somebody way worse earlier.
Way worse. Yeah.
Way worse earlier.
Well, and way better, just probably too small to play in the NFL.
Yeah, that's the thing about Dylan Gabriel is like, if he was 3 inches taller, I would take him over Shedeur in a heartbeat. Like, it wouldn't even be close.
Big if,
like,
though.
he was a way better college quarterback, right? Like, that's not even controversial to say. Like, he was an infinitely better college quarterback. He just probably can't play in the NFL.
Peter Schrager backdoored into having the correct take about all of this. He said this on a podcast like a month ago. I read a transcript of it. But basically, the TLDR is everyone in media knows Dion and likes Dion, has worked with Dion. NFL Network, they all like him. No one wanted to be the first person put Shedeur down. No one wanted to be the first person to put out a mock no Shedeur in the first round. And the way we consume draft coverage, no one actually knows, right? I don't know anything about these guys. You don't know. Right. We got a report that the Browns-Jaguars trade was in place since April 7th, never leaked out of the building. That just shows how little we know. I think the real answer is he probably is like a 3rd round Malik Willis style talent. The interviews were really bad. And this is the, what's funny is the analogy is Tebow, where it's like, sure, Tebow, if you could have Tim Tebow in your organization as your 3rd quarterback, your Taysom Hill or whatever, and he wasn't Tim Tebow and no one cared, and he was just, if he was Chris Streveler, you'd love to have him. You'd love to have him in the building, but it's just not the way it works. It's a distraction. It's annoying. This is gonna happen all off season. Which the number one thing Stefanski's going to be asked about at every press conference.
Yeah.
his freaking quarterback 5 is going to be the thing he spends the most time discussing with Cleveland media.
I mean, I watched that press conference. I was curious to see how that would go after day 3, and it was all Shedeur questions. It was the media was calling it a blockbuster pick, and they were like, "We do not consider this a blockbuster pick. We took the quarterback in the 5th round. Like, that's not blockbuster." Like, they were clearly hoping that the 5th round capital would kind of mute some of the noise around this. It won't.
And they were right.
It will a little, though. I mean, Shedeur as a 2nd round pick will come with more of a circus than he will as a 5th round. He's still going to come with the circus, but I mean, I think he was never clearly he was never a 1st rounder.
No,
but I don't think it was that he was always a 5th rounder. I think he thought he was like a top 5 pick. They literally said, we have a list. We have a list we'll let you know if you're on the list. There's a list of teams. We're not down to play for every team. And then later they were like, well, pretty much everyone's on the list. But like they came in with an attitude of like this, we're going to kind of use the leverage that we have to help dictate where he goes, like Eli Manning, forcing his way to the Giants or whatever. And I think that the NFL, we know that's going to rub them like super the wrong way. So that to me, he's got to be like a 2nd, 3rd round talent. I mean, the media had him as kind of, probably like in the 20s or the 30s, but they had Ward to start in like the teens, and they had Dart usually behind Shedeur. So from a talent perspective, I don't buy that he was a day 3 guy. I mean, this has to be some of the other stuff.
Pat, I think your mic input is wrong, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
Or maybe you're just not speaking into it. I think if you just put Shedeur in Garrett Nussmeier's body or whatever, I think a team probably takes him in the 2nd round. I would just off the accuracy, just off the ability that he is so accurate. But that is just a willful ignorance of the situation, because that is just not the way it works. Like, it is what it is.
Jacob? Yeah. I mean, I agree with pretty much everything you guys are saying. I mean, I was pretty vocal that I thought he sucked as a quarterback prospect. I think that was relative to where he was projected to go. So I thought he had no business being a 1st round prospect. But I mean, I wanted the Colts to take him on day 2. So I thought he was like worth a shot from that perspective for sure.
Don't you think they should have? Like, it's kind of crazy that they didn't.
No, I do. I was like completely losing my mind all over the timeline.
They have enough stuff in their garage right now.
You know what?
I desperately wanted them to take. I mean, I wanted them to take Milroe even more. But
Ballard should be fired. Ballard should literally be fired for not taking Milroe.
I mean,
give it 6 months.
I think the Jets, I think the Colts, I think the Browns, I think all these front offices, I actually don't really care about Shedeur. I think they should all be given their walking papers for not taking Milroe.
Yeah, I mean they won't be, but I agree. It was like a really dumb bet. They had the chance to take Milroe or Shedeur, and they were like, what if we took the 194th player on the big board who plays he'll be our 6th string corner? It's just clear the NFL does not think probabilistically about the quarterback position.
No,
I feel like the
neither do YouTube commenters, Jacob.
Fantasy industry is actually
YouTube commenters do not think probabilistically.
No,
that's true.
The YouTube commenters that have been in my kitchen about my Shedeur takes for months, hell hath no fury, man. Like, you guys don't show your face.
Yeah, man. You could people. That's the other. But I honestly think that played into it. You're talking about Dion and how that was an interesting point. I hadn't considered that, but even doing fantasy shows, I know that if you talk about Shedeur, you're going to get a lot of hate if you're not positive about his prospect.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
but
I wonder how much that factored in, honestly. That I
think it factored in a lot. And And it becomes a reinforcing thing. Like once a few people that probably have a pretty negative end opinion of Shedeur don't share their opinion, then you start to be like I would say like I let it fly a little bit more on YouTube shows, but like at the risk of looking ridiculous, like I would say I was far more cautious in my like written write-up of what I thought Shedeur was as a prospect than I was like on this program, for instance, where it's like, well, like if he goes the first round, I should have just written, there's no way in hell this guy should ever be drafted in the first round. But like I felt like I played way more with kid gloves talking about Shedeur than I did about like Tyler Shough, where I was like, this is ridiculous. So it's like a level of like, I think it's just you watch something, and then even if you come to an opinion, if no one else is like as stringent in their opinion, or at least willing to be, then you kind of like, you're like, maybe I'm the one that's wrong. So like, I'm going to be more cautious. But yeah, I think the NFL doesn't think probabilistically about quarterbacks. They sort guys in like, realistically, every NFL team should be viewing these guys as like a range of outcomes, where like a percentage chance at the time they're like an all-pro, and a percentage chance at the time they're a mid-level franchise quarterback
at the grade they give them, because they give these guys grades, and I think they're like, that's what he is, to an extent.
Exactly, right?
Like, and it's like, well, we're not going to take
as a range
third-string quarterback. We don't need one of those.
It really is
they're
about
like, this guy's a franchise quarterback or this guy's not. Yeah. And once you're in the not bucket, they don't care, because they're like, well,
once you're in the yes bucket, the Titans wouldn't trade off. It's like, he's a franchise quarterback. We're not going to take like $1 million first for him. We'd rather have a franchise quarterback.
I think
exactly.
I think the point about the Colts, and first of all, Jacob, you mentioned it, the Colts drafting instead a sixth-string corner, Davis Maddock. Welcome to the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, that happened fast, but congratulations on that. It really is. The point about the Browns press conference is almost the whole thing. Does Shane Steichen, he's got so much in his garage to deal with already. Does he need a new, load of dirt or something like this? He gets those same questions. They can't handle that. Like, they don't know what they have. I think Stefanski can. He's two-time coach of the year. He's got his veteran. He's got his mid. And he's got now two rookies. I don't know. I kind of trust that. And it probably won't work. But
it's not going to work.
It probably won't work. But the point is that you should still make the bet. Right? I mean, even though it probably won't work, you should still make the bet.
I have no problem with what the Browns did. I mean, I guess I have a problem with them taking Tilton Gabriel first, but like all in all, if I have a problem with the Browns drafts, if they took two fucking running backs, I have no problem with the Browns taking two quarterbacks. That is like,
I agree.
What they should do.
The funny thing is about the draft, though, because I was listening to, I forget who I was listening to, but they're talking about how like teams do all the work on the court. So which teams, it might have been Brugler, it's like, which teams did all the work on the quarterback? He's like, the Browns did. The Browns did all the work, all the interviews, and they met with all these guys a bunch of times. So when it comes back around in the fifth, they've already taken their bet with Gabriel, but they definitely had Shedeur on their board, and he had to be the top guy, probably by a decent margin. So they go ahead and take him. But the problem is, you're thinking like, oh, right. A bunch of teams like never did the work on the quarterbacks because they didn't expect him to be there, because he wasn't a day 3 prospect. He was like a day 2 prospect who falls to day 3. So then you get to day 3 and there's a bunch of teams who like literally don't have them on their board. And they're like, we trust our board. We go by our board. They're like, they're like, what's Shedeur doing here? Where does he fit? Like, they never prepped. Like probably like 2/3 of the teams in the league were like, Shedeur, I don't know. Let's just take the next guy on our board.
I like that the Browns made it their last pick, even though it was early in the 5th round too. Like, we're all exhausted. Let's just do this and get out of here. The guy in your fantasy draft who was like, I don't care, just auto for me. I'm done. I'm too tired. It's too late. The Browns kind of had that look too. I wonder when they decided. I mean, when they picked Gabriel, did they have this thought in mind?
They decided when Jimmy Haslam gave them a call and said, Shedeur Sanders.
Well, that was maybe late Friday night then, or very late Friday night when that call might have been placed.
So you're saying this is the last pick of the draft show, but this might be the last pick of the regime.
It might.
I mean,
never pick again.
You had Andrew Barry and Kevin Stefanski. Like, I'm thinking like in Madden when they pan out to the crowd, like Madden like 2007, and you get the little AI guys doing like these weird claps. That was like what Andrew Barry and Kevin Stefanski were doing after they panned from the Shedeur pick. It's like we are robotically clapping for our selection.
It did look like that. It did look like that in the Browns room. The rooms being different was kind of a fun thing. It always is a fun thing with the draft. Like there's the big bear hug teams. The Lions are all wearing the general manager's college jersey. You know, very collegial kind of scene there, and others are sort of like, I think I'm supposed to clap now. I think this is what it is. Good pick. Is Sanders Pet draftable in BBM? If
no.
Dart, okay,
no. If Dart's not draftable,
who's the Browns starting quarterback those weeks?
Well,
I have no idea.
I mean, I think probably Shedeur Sanders would be the plurality choice. But
that's
like,
not enough. I don't need it's not redraft. Like I need to know. Yeah. I need to be like confident that this dude's starting in week 17. You take 3 quarterbacks at most. So I'm gonna take one of those is gonna be a guy where I'm like, I don't know, maybe he'll play. And if he does, he's probably bad. Like why?
He's not gonna run with
Deontay.
So he's not gonna run.
Right.
The Browns are gonna be bad. So you're like, all right, I'm taking the Browns pass-only quarterback instead of Dart, who was a first-rounder, who runs, who has backdoor stacking options, right? You could take Slayton or Theo Johnson after. I don't have Shedeur ranked in my top. Like I ranked 250 guys. I did not rank.
I won't have
Shedeur.
a single Browns quarterback ranked when I haven't posted.
I might take Flacco. I could potentially be convinced to take a Flacco as a quarterback.
I just don't think I assume that for
Can I convince you not to take Flacco?
No, don't take Flacco. I assume for the first half of the year that it's probably going to be one of or both of Flacco and Pickett, and for the second half of the year, it's probably going to be one of or both of Gabriel and Sanders. But like. They might play all 4 of them at some point. Like they're at least going to play, I think, 2 or 3. And I don't know who's going to be in the chair at the end. And probably all of them will suck. So like, yeah, I think it's just friends don't let friends draft the Cleveland Browns this year. You can take. I think
if I was going to take anybody, it would be Gabriel. Honest to God, because that's the guy they believe in. Like Shedeur, they don't even believe in. So, but
Gabriel might run a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like a smidgen.
Yeah. I'm still not going to take Gabriel.
Yeah, we don't have any of these guys in the top 250.
I mean, it's 2 weeks to the schedule. Davis, Browns at Lions, week 17. I mean, I don't know. That's a possibility.
I would rather take Milroe, unstacked, uncorrelated.
For sure I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And I won't do that, but
there's a bet here. Like
it's okay.
It's like it's not a parlay. Like Sam Darnold stinks. Milroe plays. Milroe has a fantasy profile that will score points. So you just have to. You're betting against Sam Darnold playing well, and you're betting against Seahawks making the playoffs. Like that's. I'm not taking Milroe, but like okay, Dart's obvious.
Raiders,
like
Browns
Dart's gonna play this year. Dart's playing.
Weeks.
So you're gonna get starts from Dart, and that's just basically. Does he play well enough to make the pick worth it? Because he's not going to play most of the year, but he'll play the end of the year. So is he good enough to be worth having in the playoff weeks? But that's a reasonable bet at his price. These other guys, I just don't see the point. You're the vast majority of the time, you're just putting a 0 in your lineup.
Yeah.
I prefer my zeros with some style points.
Agreed.
Frankly. I'd rather take Damian Martinez, and just lock in that 0.
Land Larison season. Tyler Warren Jacob
$50,000 guaranteed, by the way.
Nice. That's awesome. Way to go, Land.
Less than MVS got from the Bills, but still
less than J.K. Dobbins got from the Chargers.
Even that. As we open up the slides, welcome back, Zach. Good to have you. Good to hear things are turning up in your family. Tyler Warren to the Colts.
Hell yeah.
I know I watched, even was on Colts chasing on Thursday night, but here we go. We've got the Spider-Man meme going, 5 guys. There's Tyler Warren. He's a faller.
I like how much bigger Woods is than the rest of them.
Enjoy that. That's good.
Where's Mo Alley?
Where is Mo Alley Cox?
Yeah.
Mo Alley Cox has been Forgotten.
He's so big he couldn't make the graphic.
Well, no, Granson is gone now. I think Granson is a Jaguar maybe, but Mo Alley's still there. Yeah,
Mo Alley will always be there. Like in a nuclear apocalypse, all that will be left is the cockroaches and Mo Alley cogs. Kyle Granson plays for the Eagles now. So when Dallas Goedert gets traded, Kyle Granson sizzing.
Wow.
But
nevertheless,
yeah, I mean, I love. I've totally talked myself into the Tyler Warren pick in real life already. I've gotten there. In the first round, I was kind of like disappointed because I wanted Loveland more. But now I'm all in. So that's good. It's not great for fantasy still. Can't really talk myself into that one. Give me another week though, and I probably will. But yeah, I think they mostly picked Tyler Warren to run the ball better from 11 personnel. I think they didn't like that they had like either totally non-pass catching viable tight ends or only pass catching viable tight ends who still weren't that good of pass catchers. And so they were kind of trapped in the spot where they could kind of only run the ball last year from heavy personnel, but they didn't want to be in heavy personnel because then you have to take Josh Downs off the field and he's their best wide receiver. And so they want to keep Josh Downs on the field all the time. They want to play 11 all the time, and they want to be able to run or pass out of 11. And so Tyler Warren, I think, can end this tight end committee. If there's like one piece of FUD I've seen on Warren that I actually do disagree with, it's the idea that they're still going to have this committee. I think that they explicitly drafted Tyler Warren to not have a tight end committee. I think he's going to play like 90% of the snaps almost immediately. Unfortunately, they're going to throw like 470 passes, and then about 120 of them will be completely uncatchable. So if you like 71 targets at a 4.78 from extremely poor accuracy quarterbacks, you're going to love Tyler Warren.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe they'll have a committee either. They're going to play Warren, and Warren's good, so he'll dust these guys, and they'll have stuff designed for him as well. I don't know from the real life perspective. Isn't Mo Alley Cox a better run blocker or whatever, like, or whoever else?
No, he's
one of these guys.
Kind of not. He's just so unfluid. Like he's big and bulky, but he's just useless.
Next question.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, I don't know. And I
he's
don't
a decent
really
blocker, like
Mo Alley Cox. Then I thought that's what he was for.
Tyler
no
Warren
one understands Mo Alley Cox. He's a decent blocker if it's like we attach another tight end to the line and he just has to block in a phone booth. But if he's like the last guy on the line, then like he's just so slow that like you could just kind of run around him.
I'll let you bet this minus 110 either side. More receptions, Dawson Knox or Tyler Warren.
Well, Warren's going to have more receptions. That's the other thing, and I said this on Colts facing the other
Kincaid
night.
or Warren.
Well, so Brett Jones is saying we have him behind Kincaid. It's like, yeah, because we're trying to help people win money, like he's gonna Kincaid's not very good, but he's on the Bills.
Dalton Kincaid, that's incongruent.
Before Warren.
We're assuming 72 or more catches for Dalton Kincaid.
No, I said 71 targets.
Targets, right.
Give me the over on Kincaid.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Warren, the nice thing is, like I said this the other night, like as much as the Colts do have other weapons, they don't have any other yak weapons. So like they're gonna get a lot of scheme stuff to Warren. They're gonna give him like RPO tight end screens. I don't know. I'm excited to see where he falls in drafts because I could talk myself into it at a given price, but yeah, he's gonna need to fall considerably from where he was before.
He's just, and it's been this way. He's in a funny spot right between, of all people, Kelsey and Andrews, 104, 105, 106. It's funny that like he's sort of sandwiched in between the two, I don't know, legends.
Yeah,
in terms of Andrews is probably strong.
Significantly behind Kelsey and Andrews.
By the way, thanks NFL for all the veteran trades we were hyped up for on the weekend. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, obviously, Breece Hall, Goddard, Andrews. Thanks for all the action. It was fun.
Pickens,
Kenneth
Walker.
That happens in hockey. Puck chasing quota achieved. Every year the insiders are all like, there's going to be all this at the deadline, and there's nothing ever. All right. Risers and fallers. So the big one is RJ Harvey after the Denver pick. There's Chase Brown, who did pretty well. Tet McMillan, Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter, Jack Bech, great result for him with the Raiders. Trey Harris
Sure.
with the Chargers.
You guys are total cowards. 68 RJ Harvey. Those are rookie numbers. Got to get that up.
I mean, I actually think
I think you should be like a 4th round pick.
Yeah, I think that is way too far because there's just roughly no chance that week 1, maybe even week 5, Harvey is like clearly dominating the other guys in that
take
backfield.
That bet.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll bet
the other guys in the backfield are ass. Audric Estime, no. Jalen McMillan, role player. RJ Harvey, awesome, and he's already a veteran. So
this might actually be because you're. This might actually be because you're too young. But
how dare you?
You haven't lived like Davis.
Sean Payton used to say stuff dead ass. He'd look you in the face and say, "The only thing holding Mark Ingram back is me." And then absolutely change nothing about his behavior and continue to give every other running back more. Like those of you following at home, guess Mark Ingram's first 1,000-yard season after being the 28th overall pick by the New Orleans football
Doesn't
Saints.
they like have good running backs on the team when they drafted Mark Ingram?
No,
was Deuce still around? Was Bush still
around? He was
around?
with the Saints, but it was like year 4 or 5. It was late.
It was year 4. So here are some other running backs who got the ball over Mark Ingram. Chris Ivory. You guys remember Chris Ivory?
Chris Ivory was kind of good.
Former Bill.
Chris Ivory was kind of good. We, of course, who could forget the 156-105 touch distribution between Mark Ingram and Pierre Thomas? Obviously,
Pierre Thomas was
no
good.
one.
Pierre Thomas rocks.
All right. Do we remember Jed Collins? Does anyone remember Jed Collins?
I got Jed Collins jersey.
Does anyone remember?
You sound like Jed Collins is lost at Walmart and your mom paging him. Where
paging Jed Collins.
Jed Collins. That's so good.
Yeah. I of course am on board with the concept of RJ Harvey, and I took him, I think, 2 out of my 3 drafts yesterday. I've got no pushback, but this idea that RJ Harvey is like locked into 232 rushes, 62 receptions. I'm extremely skeptical of that.
Here's why this is a good rank and not cowardly. Okay, this is why. Let me defend the rank. First of all, so you jump in drafts and he will go in the 5th round. But I've also seen him, and I've been on the wrong side of the board where I didn't take him in the early 6th. But then he goes in the mid 7th. So he's going after this ranking a decent amount of the time. I've only done 2. I haven't had a chance to grab him. You also now have like there's a analyst pushback on the slappies. You got the slappies are in the drafts and they're like, I'm taking this guy in the 4th round. I'm taking this guy, Audric Estime. No. Jalen McMillan? No, that's what the slappies are doing.
Do you remember? Do you remember when we were? Do you guys remember when we were all excited?
I'm like, I gotta get him in the 4th. He's gonna be going in the 3rd in a week.
We were all excited about the Broncos backfield, and then we relearned the name Tyler Bidet.
No, we were actually wrong, but we were right. Javonte Williams was 5th in the NFL in targets last year. He had 70 targets, and he was turbo ass. Like. He was just you're preaching, unbelievably washed that it made the bet wrong, but the bet should have been right.
Yeah.
And then Payton was like, my running backs have rendered me so incapable of using the backfield the way I want to. I need to go get a good running back. And they've only gotten 1. They only added 1, and it's RJ Harvey, and he's awesome. And they're going to give him the ball immediately, and they're going to keep giving him the ball, and he's going to score all the fantasy points.
I'm trying to be
the ranking here that we have is I believe on the higher end of what rankings are. So you're like, here's what I think. I think there's going to be a bit of pushback. The slappies, I mean, these slappies are slapping so hard they're going to be done. They're going to have 150 by the middle of June. Like these, and we know the normal drafters come in. Leone, I was talking as we were doing the handover on Best Ball Breakfast yesterday. He was
sure he's being cowardly about this.
Well, he's being Leone. Let's say that. But no, I think he was saying that on at Establish the Run, they were like, "Oh my God, we're behind on every rookie." And then the middle of the summer happened, and they're like, "Oh my God, we're ahead on every rookie." The rookies, it used to be the case. You dove in and you could get really cheap prices on the rookies. like across the board. We don't really live in that environment now. It's like already RJ Harvey, the very first drafts, he's going in the 5th round. If anything, RJ Harvey will actually be cheaper as we move through the summer. Like if you want to get a bag of RJ Harvey, I bet you that you can get some 80s RJ Harvey later in the summer. I don't think he's going to, I mean, he's an undersized running back. There's going to be talk of Estime getting the early down work. I know it's crap. I'm not going to buy into it, but I just think
that Nathan Yonke, Jaleel McLaughlin has taken the first snap for the Denver Broncos
in
preseason week 1 tweet.
That's what I'm
saying. Gonna hit like crack.
Yeah. I bet you Nick P says legit 0%. I bet you there's some 80s. There's probably already been 80 Harveys. Yeah, you've already lost this bet.
Yeah,
Nick.
I've already taken Harvey in the 80s.
There
now,
you go. Yeah.
I am really excited for everyone to relearn.
He had a wide range of outcomes yesterday because his opening ADP was like 150.
Sure.
So like, in a couple of days, like then he's gonna have like a stabilized ADP, and then we're gonna see what happens.
You're gonna get him in the 80s when Payton says that Jaleel McLaughlin is still the starter. Like, just pace yourself, you know.
Davis, who's on the roster?
Blake Watson, who's gonna be active for kick returns. So that's on your ADP chasing bingo.
You don't get Davis is like all I want to make sure of is that I have 150 different configurations of RJ Harvey best ball mania teams. Right.
I'm trying to draft like Leone
flavors around RJ Harvey. I can't. I don't want to imagine a world where any of my best ball mania entries don't have RJ Harvey. That would be an unjust world.
Well, fair enough. I'm trying to draft like Leone this year,
going
so
on 25 years old.
That's why I have to draft him in best ball because I can't get to his dynasty price. In dynasty, I'm the coward because I'm like, I really want to draft this 24-year-old rookie running back who I'm in love with, who was like my 3rd favorite real life rookie running back. But I'm like, I can't actually justify taking like a 24-year-old rookie running back at like the 108 in Superflex Dynasty. I'm like, that's just irresponsible. But in best ball, I don't have to be responsible. I don't have to worry about his age. I can just
because we're all going to lose anyway.
Yeah, and the other thing about, I mean, my guess with Harvey, the kind of the career arc is that he doesn't work as like a true lead back, but I bet you they try it, and that's all we care about. You know,
why do you think he wouldn't work?
I mean, I don't think he's explosive, and I think he's going to be like a reasonably effective runner, but not because he's like a little bit undersized, and I don't know. Watching him, I'm like, this dude is looking for the big play a lot. Like, I'm not sure he's going to be like that consistent.
And finding it
a lot, but that works better. Where did he go? UCF?
Central Florida.
Yeah. He reminds me of guys who've gotten pigeonholed. Now, being with Sean Payton is the perfect place to be if you have any of those concerns. But I think like year 2, 3, is he like
definitely nothing frustrating happens with Sean Payton coach players.
Yeah.
Well, that's just because you like all the bad ones, Davis. This guy's not Marvin Mims.
They've all been bad, brother. There's been one good Broncos fantasy player in the Sean Payton era.
I think people are conflating the annoyances they have drafting Sean Payton wide receivers onto Sean Payton running backs. Like, I feel like the only reason why they haven't gotten satisfied by their backfield the last few years is because Javonte just sucked. Like if they like
that's valid,
for the last 2 years,
also
mostly,
kept getting
like,
the
it was
ball.
like he kept giving the ball to Javonte, and then he just wouldn't do anything with it. But like he wasn't like being like, oh, I'm going to try all this crazy stuff. It was like I'm just going to keep giving the ball to Javonte and be like, that didn't work. So like now he's just going to keep giving the ball to RJ Harvey, and it's probably going to work better than it worked with Javonte.
But I don't know. I don't think in like the 4th round or even the 5th round you're getting. There's certainly an upside for it to pay off, but it doesn't. It does feel like a bit of a.
Like, I'm sorry, dude.
Overpay
Joe
at
Mixon
price.
is a better pick than RJ Harvey.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
I guess
Joe Mixon's a better pick than RJ Harvey. I don't want to have to say that. I'm mad
you're forcing me to say that, Jacob.
To quote
Peter
Overzet from yesterday's stream, no disrespect meant to Woody Marks. I'm sure you would say that here, Davis.
No, I intend to
No, we
fully
mean it.
disrespect what he marks.
We don't
he's
have him
like
in the
a
ranks, I
He's
believe.
like a
I can't
terrible
handle it.
player. Yeah.
They traded an extra third to go get him, I think. I think we can.
You got to want it. You got to want it.
No thanks on the Woody Marks stuff.
Chase Brown, as good as people think, the result of the draft?
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wheels
up. Unless Zach Moss has been sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber for the last 6 months or getting on steroids or something. It's possible, I guess.
Okay.
The touch distribution last year when they were both healthy, if that repeats, I did happen to look at Mike Clay's projections because he's like the only one where you can see them to the granular level right now, and he has Chase Brown as like the worst value on the board. He's got him for 191 rushes and 55 targets, which would be like
why? Where are the rest of the rushes going?
He's got 95 for Moss, 31 for Pirine, 10 for Taj Brooks.
Yeah, I'm gonna fade Mike Clay on that one.
I don't think it's like generally you don't project like a whole backfield to go to one guy, but that's what we saw them do. And
must win
games.
I don't know.
That will not have. They're not gonna have 97% snap shares for this guy. I would be
they're not gonna have 97% snap shares, but I could see them doing a Kyron thing. They basically did the Kyron thing where they're like, all right, this is the guy we actually trust,
which is great.
Right?
Yeah,
which is great, which is awesome.
You don't need 97%.
And that's you could be at 80%. I think pretty easily. Like maybe he doesn't start there, but like NFL teams do what's working, and he's been blessed. Like he gets Zach Moss and Taj Brooks was late day 3 pick, who's kind of Chase Brown-ish, but he's, maybe the rookie Chase Brown where he touches the ball 3 times and then we draft him excitedly the following year.
Like the slow version of rookie Chase Brown.
The thing for me about
as slow as I thought he'd be though. His 40 was okay.
Not as slow. He's not like the people thought he would be like epically slow, but he's still not fast. He's not
fast.
Explosive.
Yeah.
The thing for me about Brown pre-draft was like the Bengals' whole story last year was their defense was so bad for so much of the season that even with Chase and Higgins going off, they still couldn't get to the playoffs. So this draft had to be about defense for them, which took running back off the table until day 3 in my mind, and that sort of made it just sort of smooth for Brown. So I hope you were in on him before the draft.
I was not in on Brown before the draft. I mean, I thought
I want to know part of it.
This run out was unlikely because, there's a comment saying he's not very good, and so he could like lose work. And yeah, I mean, I don't think he's very good either, but they didn't add any competition. So it's like lose work to who? This is one of the things I screwed up last year, I think, especially in best ball, where like having the points early on when you can't, pick up guys off the waiver wire and stuff like is very helpful. It's like Kamara's going to lose work. Mixon's going to lose work. Like to who? And there wasn't a to who, So
yes,
Brown,
and this is the Bengals offense. I mean, that's
great stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he's better than people think. Like I feel like I was saying this in the offseason last year, and then even in season, it's like, is he an elite running back? No. But I think that sometimes people treat him like he's like a bad running back. I don't think he's that either. I think he's like
I don't think he's bad. No.
I think he's like a league average starting running back where like if a team was like, we want to take work away from this guy, I would get it because he probably isn't a good enough running back to command like one of the top 5 opportunity shares in the league. But he's certainly solid. Like he is explosive and he can catch passes. He's really improved in pass protection, and he's like gotten to a place as a runner between the tackles where he's good enough. And it's like, all right, we're good with that.
Chuba Hubbard on the Bengals.
Chuba Hubbard's
but I
think running back than Chase Brown.
Chuba's better, but I think Chase is a better receiver.
Yeah.
Well, Chase Brown is really fast, and just one of the interesting things that happened last year was, for whatever reason, he did not there were no 60-yard touchdowns once Zach Moss got hurt. You literally toss in one of the explosive plays, and all of his stuff looks better. His rush yards over expectation, his yards per carry, like literally just one. It's a tale as old as time. A day 3 pick who's explosive and fast gets scaled up to full-time work and loses efficiency. Same thing that happened to A-Chain. Obviously, A-Chain was a day 2 pick, but I don't really think it's rocket science here. Chase Brown is probably going to get 240 touches of the football, and he's on a good offense. I just you know what he is, Corain? He's kind of a dead zone running back, but one that we like. One like where we like the stock. You know,
and he is projectable. 3. Yeah, he is project. He's honestly though, Davis. Chase Brown would have gone in like 2018. He would have been like the 109.
I was gonna say he
would have been the Kenyon
overall.
Drake when Kenyon Drake went like at the 110 or something.
Yeah, or the Mixon that year, or the Jacob. Remember when Jacobs used to go at 112? It's like more like that.
He went in, your draft with Pete, Pat. You guys picked Brown. Pete and Mike Leone picked Brown. End of 3rd. I don't know about Davis's draft.
I think I took Chase Brown every draft I did yesterday because I have him ranked in the 30s, and you can get him in the 4th round still.
ADP 35.
Yeah. I took a bunch of Brown yesterday. I mean, you guys are making me question the rank, which is built a lot on the basically projected volume. I mean,
I like that rank.
But
that is like a good rank.
All right.
So, how do you feel about the rank if Samaj P. Ryan just returns to the role that he used to be in on the Bengals?
I think he will return to the role that he used to be in on the Bengals.
All right. Well, his last season in Cincinnati, 95 rushes and 51 targets.
But the majority of those came in like a 3-week span when Joe Mixon wasn't playing.
That's right.
All right, let me pull up we're gonna go game log.
Like he was basically just a pure third. He was a pure third down back, and then Mixon got hurt, and then P. Ryan went crazy for a few weeks, and then Mixon came back, but he was still kind of hurt, and then they split like 50-50.
Is that their Super Bowl season? He mattered in the playoffs too.
No, that was the year they lost the Chiefs in the AFC Conference Championship in overtime.
The year after, okay.
So Mixon, prior to Mixon getting hurt, P. Ryan was pure third down back, like 3 carries and 2 targets a game.
So I'm looking at it right now. He still did play about 30% of the snaps, 25% of the snaps.
Sure.
I mean, that is
mostly the pass block.
Sure, but you want Chase Brown. He was getting like 4.5 a game. Yeah.
It is 3 years ago.
You're right.
It is 3 years ago. I mean, that's his age maybe, but they did bring him back. It's an if. Tet McMillan, I'll just say
before we get to Ted, I want to just on the Mixon comment. So we had Brett saying Woody Marks is a league winner when Mixon gets hurt. I don't agree from a prospect perspective on Woody Marks, but I do feel like maybe there's a leak here of like we
just miss stuff all the time because we don't know anything about running back prospects.
Yeah, and I don't think Woody Marks is good, but if you just paid attention to the draft capital and the trade up, you'd be like, yeah, he's the clear handcuff to a guy none of us like and is old.
Yeah.
So any thoughts on Woody Marks' ceiling?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was just a satellite back. So like my initial reaction was he's the new Dare Goombawale. He's going to play every third down. But he's not really the backup if Mixon gets hurt. But you're right. Like if not Woody, then who is the backup if Mixon gets hurt? Like there's no one else, right? Like who else is on the roster? Literally, I guess Damian Pierce is still around, but like they didn't want to do anything with Pierce last year. I mean, they basically did play Dare Goombawale as the primary backup when Mixon got hurt last year because they had such little interest in playing Cam Akers or Damian Pierce. So I guess like probably would be Marks, but I think it would be Marks in like a Dare kind of way where what they actually do is they just go really pass heavy without Joe Mixon, and then maybe Woody gets like 8 carries and 7 targets in that like start, and then they also give like another 7 or 8 carries to Damian Pierce. I don't know. I think like
Cam Akers the following week,
and then Dare
Woody
Goombawale is still there.
There's nothing about Woody's I'll put it this way. There's absolutely nothing about Woody's prospect profile that says he's more than a satellite back in the NFL. But like for a 2 to 3 week stretch, that doesn't necessarily preclude an NFL team from using a satellite back as more than a satellite back in reserve. And that can be really valuable. Like we've seen guys who are clearly not NFL rushers and are actually just satellite backs have had success in 2 to 3 week spurts. Like you think of like a Justin Jaxson, who was the league winner in BBM like a few years ago, because he got to play back up while they just went extreme pass heavy and threw him the ball 10 times. So yeah. And the nice thing with Woody is like, I do have a lot of confidence he will play from week 1 because he should be immediately the third down back. Like I am confident he can do that. So
isn't Dare going to be the third down back?
They got him in the ranks.
I think Woody is going to displace Dare really quick.
What a strange trade.
They traded a future third round pick for this guy. He's not going to at least displace Dare.
The two head in the sand fantasy analyst things I don't want to do are ignore Woody Marks, which I did ignore to start, but I just put him in the ranks and we'll update later today. And Isaac Tesla, who they traded literally 2 third-round picks to trade up for and take. They gave away.
I'm more content by putting my head in the sand on Isaac Tesla than
from a best ball perspective. You're looking for dart throws late. Like I'm pretty sure Isaac Tesla's going to play. They just gave up.
I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine with him as a late round pick
for the guy.
I just think with Marks, it's like with Marks, we can be right and wrong.
Yeah.
Like we can be right that he is just a satellite back, but we could be wrong in the sense of if Joe Mixon turns an ankle and they have no other running back and they just play him 70% of snaps anyways, then he'll score fantasy points even if he has like 2.8 yards per carry. That's fine. But like Tesla as a wide receiver on the Lions with Gibbs and Montgomery and Laporta and Jameson Williams, and Amon-Ra, obviously, like that's a tough nut to crack for a volume perspective. Like he actually does have to be good to do anything this year. So I feel more willing to fade that than the Mark situation.
I mean, Houston giving up a day 2 pick next year in this thing. Like you really had to do that. Apparently it's back to
didn't have to do that.
In the pronunciation department, and I'm not meaning to correct anybody because I'll be corrected next. It's Tesla, right? Is that better? Tesla.
I'm gonna stick with Tesla.
Yeah, I'm never.
It was Tesla until like a couple months ago, I think, for some reason.
Yeah, did he change it?
Shouldn't you change it to Tesla?
I believe it's actually pronounced Isaac Department of Government Efficiency.
No, not anymore.
The marketing potential there. I just wanted to say on Tet McMillan that while I accept that the landing spot seems good, I mean, immediate number 1, up and coming offense, I kind of thought that was going to happen almost no matter what. There was some shade on him toward the end of the pre-draft, but he was going to LA or he was going somewhere cool already. So another one where I feel like we wanted to be in I
I definitely got a little bit nervous that he wasn't maybe going somewhere cool. That he was mocked to the Ravens in the late first round and stuff like that. And, McShay had him wide receiver 50 and everything. So I'm like, some people hate this dude and I don't know where the NFL stands. And I did not think he was going to go top 10. I thought he was very live to go to the Cowboys at 12. Sounds like that basically was a lock to happen if he got there. But I was a little bit more nervous about what his kind of path to targets could look like. And then obviously here it's pretty clean. So
who knew even that Tampa Bay would have been a consideration or would have considered him like that?
Exactly.
We were never talking about them.
The NFL draft is
that would have
hard
been
to
horrible.
predict.
That would have been horrible.
Yeah, it's not great. I've been so tied up in Dynasty world that I haven't gotten around to setting up my best ball rankings, but 32 looks vaguely fine. I think probably like a mid to late third pick on Tet as a clear number 1 should be good. Like he get 150 targets this year if he's the prince that was promised.
A lot of weight on Bryce Young's nimble, skinny little shoulders. If we're taking Tet at 32, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to have a huge bag of Tet. You don't want to be like, dude, I'm taking Tet over Mike Evans every time. And then by week 6, you're like, dude, where is Andy Dalton? Where is the red rifle? You do not want to be doing that to yourself for sure.
No. I am taking Tet McMillan over Mike Evans every single time. So
Jacob,
I am as well.
Come on, Andy Dalton.
Dynasty pick what, by the way? 3?
I have him ranked as the 103. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We did
Hunter at 2 and Hampton at 4.
Over on Established Edge, we did a mock draft yesterday, and I think Reeves took Hampton, and then Theo took
classic Reeves.
Theo took Tet at 3. So at 4 I took Hunter. So but I do think I have Hunter too, but I do think it's flat that you could take any of those guys.
I don't. I have Hunter in his own tier. But I understand that the market thinks it's flat. Like I've looked at if you go on dynastydatalab.com, you can sort by just post-draft rookie ADP. And Travis Hunter has been the 105 so far in post-draft dynasty superflex drafts. It is super flat. He definitely goes at 102 fairly often as well. But he's been the 105 on average. I think the way I'm treating it in my drafts is like if I have the 103 to 105, I'm not trying to trade out to the 102. I'm just going to let Hunter fall to me on the occasions that he does, unless I like. And then if I'm outside of the 105, then I will. I'm not usually interested in Cam Ward, but I will basically just try to trade up if either Tat or Ward fall to like the 104 or the 105. But I'm trying to avoid. I'm drafting Hunter all of my 102s that I have naturally, but I'm trying to get my surplus Hunters at discounts. I'm not like, initially I thought like, oh my gosh, I might just have to trade up to 102 in every single draft, but I'm not trying to do that. I'm not gonna get over my skis.
It feels to me like every dynasty league I'm in, somebody in the last 2 days has posted 102, 3, or 4 on the block. Like they're trying to.
I have the 102 in our league, and I'm trying to get rid of it. I'm trying to get like a super premium asset for it.
I think it's going to be tough. I think you could get a good veteran. We talked about this last week. I think that's a trade that's makeable, but moving down and adding a third or something is not happening. How
about this one? I made a trade in a league where I traded Marvin Harrison Jr. for the 103 and a 26 second, and at the 103 I took Travis Hunter.
Good. I mean, I might have Hunter ranked ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr.
I have Hunter ranked. I have Hunter and McMillan ranked ahead of Marvin Harrison.
I'm pretty sure I don't. That's interesting.
I did in our sheet that we all have together. I redid my rankings, but I didn't do any market checking yet to see if I'm like insanely out of line on anyone. I think I have Hunter ahead.
I have Harrison ahead by like 5 spots.
Yeah.
I do have them all in the same tier. Well, I have Hunter actually not in that tier. I have Hunter a tier ahead of McMillan and Harrison, but I have McMillan ahead of Harrison as well by 2 spots.
Yeah.
Wrapping on risers, Jack Bech, Trey Harris. Both guys did great.
Bech,
those are good for the Jacob Sanderson brand and bags right there on Jack Bech and Trey Harris.
Those are rookie numbers. Bech is going to be Crane. I think maybe we talked about Kelvin Benjamin on.
That's just sitting there. Like if you want Bech right now, you do not need to follow this rank. You can get him way after the rank.
I took him at 125 yesterday just because I was in. I did like a 4 running back start build and needed wide receivers, and I was just like, yeah, dude, I'm taking Jack Bech. It is wide open for him.
Were you guys watching NFL Network by chance when he was picked? Because they did this thing for every team where they'd show you, it was fantasy friendly, 5 skill position guys, like what their team is after the pick. And on the Raiders, they didn't have Jacoby Myers, but they had Mostert. I mean, that's just sort of peak Jacoby Myers disrespect, I think, at this point.
It's an epidemic, man.
It's crazy.
Mostert over Jacoby Myers. That's a miss.
And, Trey Harris, some people on this program were like, oh, man, you might go in the 3rd. You gotta mix up your exposures. You can't just keep clicking Trey Harris. Other people said, that sign doesn't bother me because I can't read. And we just clicked Trey Harris and only Trey Harris the entire season. And you know who won that battle? Trey Harris and only Trey Harris.
I'm sure there'll be nothing frustrating at all about a boundary wide receiver playing for the Los Angeles Chargers, stuck behind an absolute volume merchant. Outside, I'm sure.
Volume merchant. That's derogatory. I
didn't really mean it. I didn't really mean it derogatory, but also I'm sure there'll be nothing frustrating at all about Mike Williams' presence on the team.
That definitely won't happen.
And then Keenan Allen re-signing on August 12th. I'm sure there will be absolutely nothing frustrating.
Talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah, I am prepared for like extreme tilt at the level of snaps that Quentin Johnston and
I was going to say, and surely there'll be nothing tilting about Quentin Johnston's presence at all.
I'm looking forward to week 7 when I'm writing the walkthrough. Trey Harris up to 60% route participation last week. Looking positive for the young rookie.
Well, it looks like you guys will continue to sleep on Trey Harris and his 5.12 yards per route run.
So I got him. I took him in one of the 2 drafts yesterday. I know, all these guys are still moving around and everything. He's going to definitely settle there. But I also got Higgins at around this price, and I was worried that they were going to be like immediate 8th rounders, and maybe, who knows, maybe they kind of will settle there, but it doesn't feel like, at least so far, that this is like a fade or stance on Harris. We'll see.
I think
move him up a little.
Ranking. Yeah.
Speaking of the Chargers,
we actually do have him a little higher than this if ADP moves up. So he'll move up if ADP goes up a bit more. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Speaking of the Chargers, on top of the fallers list is one Najee Harris. As we run this group down, Jerome Ford, Jacob, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Tyrone Tracy. That's an interesting one. We talked about him last week. Tyler Warren, there he is. And then, of course, Jalen McMillan. I feel like you guys were always sort of making this bet on Harris. I was into it, but not enough money, not good enough, and the Chargers were.
I was into Harris at pick 120 before. But
yeah.
After he signed with the Chargers, he was completely undraftable because he just got
immediately
too expensive. I mean,
he was like a 6th rounder.
Yep.
You want to talk about guys who make YouTube commenters mad? You start talking too much about Najee Harris, and the YouTube commenters will come for you.
Give it to me. Let's keep talking. Yeah.
If only there was some
guys whose usage is going to frustrate you. By the way, the first month of the season.
Najee's starting. Najee is starting for the Chargers week 1. I'd bet minus 900 Najee Harris first carry for the Chargers this year. If only there was some way to predict that Jerome Ford would easily be usurped. There just sadly there just would have been no way to predict that could have happened, Jacob.
Well, we're looking at my client is going to be speaking with management, and maybe he'll be requesting his release to look at opportunities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Twice over.
Jerome Ford, but good.
That's the part that stings with Ford.
Yeah, that is what I did not see coming. Like the Judkins thing was like, that sucks, but like no biggie, because like in my view is like he was going to pick 140, and in my view the bet was like, if he somehow survives, like if they only pick Samson, that it's like wheels up, like we're moving up in the world. And if they pick a Judkins, it's like, well, that was completely priced in. He should still be going in like 140 to 170 range anyways.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that they double replaced him, gotta admit that I didn't see that coming. So it's over for Jerome Ford.
It's over now. Yeah. He's not like dead to matter, but it's not a bet worth making anymore. So I've got my big board bags. We'll see. He's not the Shepard I thought he was, but maybe he'll have a little value.
No, dude, he'll get 4.
Just like several plants, in the industrial Midwest, the Ford window's closed.
I agree, by the way, Karain, with this DJ Moore nuking. I got some pushback on this yesterday.
I think you should nuke him a lot more.
My rank.
That's way too high.
I love this.
Well,
speaking of doubling up, the Bears.
He's got a.
That's where I thought he should have been drafted before the draft.
Do you think he has trade outs? Because if you think he's got
because they would eat $30 million of dead cap to trade him.
Yeah.
But I think he has benched outs. His effort last year was deplorable. He was quitting on every play. He couldn't beat any coverage on any non-gimmick route, so they had to scheme a bunch of running back carries. It's a new regime coming in. I don't know how it's going to all shake out. I just know that I want to bet on the guys that Ben Johnson specifically went out and targeted in all formats. I want to bet on Burden. I want to bet on Loveland. And I'm not going to let the guys who were part of failed Bears teams of the past stop me from betting on fun young players who Ben Johnson went out and targeted. So like I'm going to be a big like if that leg up ranking of 42 wound up being his ADP, I would have a 0.0% DJ Moore exposure. And then, I have some level of interest in Odunze. But I'll be buying into the uncertainty aggressively on Loveland and Burden.
Okay.
You would take Odunze over Moore?
What's Odunze's ADP right now? I've been solely dynasty pilled, so I didn't draft.
He's at like 40,
50.
Yeah.
50.9.
But we have
I wouldn't touch either of those. I wouldn't touch either of those players.
62. Okay.
And the Bears stack
I think DJ Moore should be
though.
like a. I think all these players should be close. I think DJ Moore should be like a 6th round pick. I think Odunze should be like a 6th round pick. I think Burden should be like a 7th round pick. And Loveland should be like a 8th round
11.
pick.
Okay. I'm going to want to build Bears teams. I just have to move to a different state to do it.
Yeah, the market is not going to agree with you on.
No, but I think the market is incorrect.
Burden does not strike me as a 7th round. I guess actually we have him in the 7th round, so he does strike me that way. He just was. It was striking to hear him that close to those guys.
That's my stance. I think it should be more compressed. I know the market's not going to agree with me on this, but I'm very sure that I'm going to have a stance that is like 20% Loveland, 20% Burden, 0% Moore, 5% Odunze. That's
Loveland Loveland for me is the safest bet, actually, ironically, for a rookie, because the wide receiver distribution could go a few different ways, but I feel like that pick, 1st round, red zone, yards per target, I think Loveland is the one maybe I'd want the most.
Does he dust Cole Kmet immediately though? Because you have a guy who's very capable of like doing tight end stuff, even if he's not good enough to be a starter anymore. They clearly are going to move on from him eventually, but it could be a bit of a slower start than we'd like for Loveland.
Kmet becomes Knox.
That one they could get off of if they want to. I think Loveland dusts someone immediately.
Colston,
I don't know how it works
Kincaid,
out.
they're calling him.
I think. I think No, he's way better than Dalton Kincaid. He can. The thing is with Loveland, like he can actually play either way. He can play if they bring Burden along slowly, they could play Loveland in the slot a lot. But if they want Loveland to play Y, he can block way better than Dalton Kincaid, and he can actually do that. So I think he does someone. I don't know for sure if it's just Kmet. I think he is going to play a mix of Y and F early. And if it becomes a point where Burden and Loveland look like hits, then they just get rid of Cole Kmet and they play the 3 wide receivers. They play Loveland at Y. But if Burden looks like he's not going to be a hit, then they could still play Kmet at Y. They could play Loveland at F. Or if it gets to a point where, DJ Moore or Rome start to look like massive busts, then maybe they take one of those guys off the field more often. So I think there's multiple outs. I just try to look at it zoomed out view. I think Loveland's an awesome prospect. He gets 10th overall draft capital. That's the guy out of everyone on this offense that Ben Johnson prioritized. I know Ryan Poles is still there, but I don't think he gets he's in the cock chair on this one. Like Ben Johnson's running the show. So I look at it as he decided I already have Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, and DJ Moore on my team. And I could draft any of these skill players in the draft. But what I want to do is I want to invest a 10th overall pick in Colston Loveland. So either that means he views his current players as insufficient, or he loves Colston Loveland so much that he's willing to displace them anyways. And I'm happy with either of those scenarios from a Colston Loveland perspective.
Yeah, totally. Cole Canucks, Davis, Summer saying.
Cole
Canucks.
the Bears offense is probably likely to be annoying, just with a really random target distribution week to week. Doesn't matter that much for us, but they've got 5 guys who've got to be on the field who will play at least 40% of the snaps or whatever.
I also think the burden part of it, if they had taken Ibuka, I would be there's just panic in the streets on the Bears rankings. Then I'd be, I think, closer to where Jacob is on the veterans. But Burden is volatile. This guy might be like he fell to the second round because of like off the field stuff, as far as, you know, not like allegations or anything, but just like, I don't know if we can like count on this guy. And maybe they can't, you know? So there's questions about, you know, what, you know, the completeness of the route tree, you know, how much of it was kind of more gadgety stuff. They love the yak and the explosiveness, and the ceiling is unquestionable now. But the floor is still, I think, pretty low, just given the prospect profile. And so, you know, it's just like a little bit harder for me to just take DJ Moore, who was going in the third round before, and be like, he's a sixth rounder now. Odunze, this actually makes me more nervous about Odunze in some ways.
ADP though?
Yeah, I took him some.
Okay, maybe that's a difference. Like I was like, couldn't have been less interested in DJ Moore as old ADP.
I didn't expect them to do this. You know, I didn't think they would I
didn't think they'd do this either. I just thought he was so goddamn bad last year, and like, just like didn't exude the energy of an interested NFL player.
Would you, bro?
I just want nothing to do with him.
Would you have exuded energy for the 2024 Chicago Bears?
If I was making $20 million, I would have some respect for myself and not sit on the bench in the middle of a play.
I don't know, man. I kind of like when I feel this way about
He's an
Brennan.
absolute waste, man.
I kind of like when my wide receivers are divas, frankly.
Yeah.
It's kind of a long tradition of guys who lollygagged, and then when the going got good, they got going, right? It's just like this is like well-versed territory for star wide receivers to just dog it when it doesn't matter, and then Caleb's pretty good now. Offensive line's protected. I'm gonna ball out. That is like, we're talking about basically a funny anecdote that DJ Moore is gonna write about in his book 13 years from now or whatever. Like, dude, that 2024 team was crazy. I hated my coach. I hated Waldron. Caleb wasn't even watching film. Dude was too busy, you know, painting his nails or whatever. Then Ben Johnson came in, was squatting 405 ass to grass. We were ready to go, you know? Like, I'm saying, dude.
Please ghostwrite DJ Moore's memoir. I would read every page.
I would draft Davis Maddock as DJ Moore at the 28.1.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just saying, dude. Like I don't know. Let's just go look at. Obviously, everyone knows the Randy Moss season, but like, let's just look at another stud wide receiver. First one that popped up to me, Chad Johnson. There's some crazy dogging it games in there. Let's look at Keyshawn Johnson, another guy who dogged it for multiple seasons and then said, you know what? All right, I'm ready to go. Let's go 110, 1,310. Chris Carter, another. He was so mad when they drafted Randy Moss, right? And also, I think you could.
If you're a receiver and they draft Randy Moss, like, you should be mad. That sucks for you, real bad.
I think if you really wanted to use your NFL nerd cap, you'd say this is way more bearish for Rome Odunze, who they just took top 10, and they say, you know, we have a real need at wide receiver and tight end.
I think it's way more bearish for Rome Odunze too. Like, Odunze was worse than Moore last year. Odunze really did not show that much. We know that Moore, I mean,
he's
unless
theoretically
it's age,
good. We have concepts of DJ Moore being good.
Yeah, he's 28. He just turned 28, so it's not like he's really old. Maybe he's fallen off a little bit, but this is a window where we normally expect guys to be in their prime, and we know that he has been awesome in the past. Odunze, we're like not sure if he's even good, and the Bears just drafted a guy in the early second round. That's a bad signal, I think, on what Odunze's role is expected to be.
Pat, a while back, you said, you know, something to the effect of, we didn't know what the Bears were going to do. Of course, the unpredictable nature of the draft. I might think that if the Browns told Jacksonville, yeah, we are not trading Travis Hunter, that Genty is a Bear. There was so much speculation about that. 12 to 5.
So they trade up. They trade up to 5. I see. Yeah.
Yes. And then the whole thing is, you know, parallel or different universe. But drafting 2 pass catchers with their first 2 picks. I don't know. I didn't see it.
Admittedly, this is basically just what I'm doing, where I'm just like, DJ Moore quit on his team and is not a dog. But there's a large debate going on in the chat about whether Rome Odunze is a dog. We have James says, I know Rome Odunze is a dog from Washington. But then Pepper Tony says, Rome's too nice, not a dog. And then James Young says, disagree, dog. So,
okay.
You know,
I'm voting Rome.
It's even.
I'm voting Rome as of the evidence right now. Low dog levels. Low dog levels on Rome.
I'm not sure about his dog levels. I can't say that for sure. I do think the one nice thing Rome has, you know, Loveland is a tight end, so he's like an intermediate guy. DJ Moore has been a good downfield receiver at times. He wasn't last year. He was really a short area guy. And so in theory, that's kind of also what Burden is. So that's more overlapping. Rome's the only guy who's really like a field stretcher. So that's, you know, it works two ways. One, I think that might protect his routes where he needs to be the guy on the field that's running that complement of routes. It also is not a role that has had much fun in the Ben Johnson, and he's kind of an iteration of the Sean Payton offense. Like, if you think about the players who have played the role that Rome's probably going to play on the Lions, it's like Tim Patrick, DJ Chark, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah, you just called him a poor man's Isaac Tesla.
Yeah, dude, he's literally, he is like, if you're just doing the 1-to-1, this dude is Tim Patrick right now.
Woof.
But
and
Tim
maybe
Patrick
we're wrong.
has
Like,
insane
you know who Amon-Ra St. Brown is, by the way?
Luther Burden.
It's Moore.
Well, it is for now. Luther Burden's right there.
I mean, you guys, I refuse to be typecast as the anti-Burden guy because I was the one having to tell you guys for
just
the last 4
because you're such a DJ Moore guy that you'll turn yourself into the anti whoever's opposing DJ Moore because you love DJ Moore.
Guy.
We've disagreed about DJ Moore for our entire time knowing each other.
Now, what if we just say Rome is the odd man out? Then Burden and
guys,
Moore
you can't make fantasy rankings by like coming up with some weird DJ Moore truce. Like, what if we just bury Rome and then we both can have our guy?
well, I'm just saying, what if we do say if we just say Rome is Tim Patrick, then I want the 2 St. Browns.
Rome is Tim Patrick now. Rome Odunze is Tim Patrick now.
Negotiate
free the 7 ACL injuries, I assume. Dog in him. Dog used to be only bad. Just like Goat was
most dog
only
in the
bad.
whole NFL. He came back from 2 ACL injuries and then played on the kneecap biting Lions and was totally cromulent. That's incredible levels of dog. Rome Odunze could never do that.
The guy has that dog good. The guy is a dog bad. He's the Goat good.
It's a dog. Bad. Oh, in certain contexts, yeah, is a dog is bad. Yeah.
Dog is all good now.
We said dog DJ levels. Moore was dogging it last year. You know, it's a lot of context clues. Let's do Jalen McMillan real quick. 144. Honestly, Crane still feels optimistic.
Sorry, really quick, Davis. Can I offer you a super truce?
I'm listening.
Luther Burden RB1.
Stay
DJ
woke.
Moore,
Stay
Rome Odunze, wide receiver 1 and 2.
Yeah. I'm hearing it.
Tight end 1, Colston, Loveland, slot receiver.
I'm hearing it and I'm loving it. Yeah.
So, there we go. There we go. Get that on the horn.
Shark Tank? What's happening?
How great would that be?
McMillan, guys, I apologize, but this is just anchoring bias. They just took a wide receiver at 18, brother. Like what? He's a handcuff wide receiver. He's Blake Corum at wide receiver.
Yeah, all right.
Is he good?
I mean, he's fine. I think Jalen
Davis,
McMillan's
many
fine.
are saying he's this year's Dontavian Wicks.
Literally, yes.
Oh.
No, he is.
He is, and we were wrong. That was wrong.
We were super wrong. Although here's a great stat you could do to make someone mad. You know who led the Packers in targets last year? Dontavian Wicks. Now, don't ask what the number was, but it's just that part is actually true.
18.
76. Not very many to lead.
Somehow his ADP is still 124. Like I'm going through right now, and there's guys who we're like, don't be tied to ADP because the ADP is bad. And I'm looking at the ADPs. I'm like, oh, the ADP is already good. His ADP is at 122 right now. That's still way too high. So yeah, McMillan.
It's just way too high, man.
You guys are right. I just lowered him a little bit more, but it's not like he's anywhere close to 144 yet.
You need to hit like I understand that there are a lot of outs. So the outs are Igbuka stinks, Mike Evans, Black Marble season, Chris Godwin is not healthy. You have a lot of outs, but his I don't know here. Let me pull up
like two of them to hit for it to really matter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't that helpful last year when he was the 3. He was only really good last year when Godwin got hurt and he became the 2.
Yeah. So Mike Clay has Jalen McMillan projected for 34 receptions. So I just can't.
Jeez,
I can't get there to be taking McMillions right now.
Where would you take him? Just like pure end of the draft.
He's Isaac Tesla.
Yeah, all right. I'm just gonna nuke him. Yeah.
Like I'd rather take Jack Bash, for instance, right? And
I mean, I don't even. Those are like 4 tiers apart,
right?
Yeah. Like I'd rather take Jalen Tolbert right now than Jalen McMillan.
Good God,
that's right, but I hate it.
Well, Davis made a good point that just ended the show. The point was too good.
That's it.
And I get it.
It was over.
People like Jalen McMillan. He scored all those touchdowns. Actually, I was arguing with Pete's video editor, who has like some of the worst takes on the internet. And he was arguing with me that McMillan was still a good pick. And his point was 7 touchdowns in 5 games to end the season. When is the last time something like that has been disrespected? And the list of guys who have closed out the prior year hot and then gone to immediate 0 is like, it's like
also like betting on who touchdowns is also one of the worst things to do.
Yes, general manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has really disrespected Jalen McMillan this offseason.
Yeah,
gave $70 million to Chris Godwin, spent the 18th pick on Emeka Egbuka, then even drafted Tez Johnson because the Bucs have to draft one sort by yards per team pass attempt player every single year. It's just
the best recent comp was Zay Jones. Remember how Zay Jones had that crazy end to the year, Jacksonville, and then like literally never played again. That it's
Jahan Dotson had the touchdown driven rookie year, and we were like, all right, I guess we have to draft him in the 6th round. And then I was like, oh no,
Zay Jones famously 3 touchdowns against Dallas in the fantasy playoffs. He, along with Jerick McKinnon, who had 3 touchdowns the same day against Houston, lifting Go Bills to a 2nd straight main event title.
Yeah.
1.16 yards per route run for McMillan last year.
That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Rome Odunze and
it's only slightly worse than Rome Odunze, but
Chase Claypool, actually, another guy who just scored a bazillion touchdowns and then went to 0.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Love to argue with the touchdown people.
I mean, touchdowns matter. You want touchdowns. You want to be thinking about them, but they can't just be the touchdowns.
Knox had 8 one year, and it was like, and the Bills paid him, and they paid a lot of guys that maybe aren't that good.
Oh God, dude, Tyler Shough made his way to a graphic.
Here we go.
This is so dark.
Rookie quarterbacks: Jaxson Dart, Tyler Shough. Speaking of having that dog in him, he had the dog on him when he got picked. By the way, that was a cool little scene there.
Nice.
Good job. And
dog named Murphy. He's got a dog named Murphy.
He has a golden retriever named Murphy.
Yes.
We both have golden retrievers named Murphy.
He's the new mascot of Leg Up.
Yeah, so I might have to we both have golden retrievers named Murphy. I might have to reevaluate my perspective.
Good thing you guys said so many nice things about him over several podcasts.
I've got the Doodle Boy Murphy, which is a different flavor of dog Murphy. But
how did
the
you
golden
both end up
retriever
with the
girl
same
Murphy.
dog name? By the way, I don't think I've ever asked this. Like, are you both just really into Interstellar? Are you like into each other? Like, what's the scenario?
Beatbestball.com is a great site. It's named. No, my Murphy predates me knowing Liam Murphy, but I don't think Davis's does. I think you named your dog after meeting Liam.
It was my wife's idea. We thought we were getting a boy dog, and we showed up to go pick our dog out at the farm, and there was one girl dog left, and we were like, oh, we prefer girl dogs, so we just kept the name.
Nice,
cool. Jacob, my dog is named Margot for a wine
Close.
We drink in Niagara on the Lake. It's nice. And my wife and daughter were coming home with the puppy. And I said, just my only ask is that the name have some sort of Canadian connotation to it. And she's like, it's too late. The dog's name is going to be Margot. I'm like, that's perfect. So just to feel included.
He's half Irish setter, so that was kind of the Irish. It's sort of Irish nod, and he's red. So that's how
Margo
I
the
land
pug. Pug Shough.
Close enough. You could still call it Murphy in your head, Mike.
Yeah.
So I need to get a dog that starts with M to remain on this show, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Do they let you do that in Canada now? Are you allowed?
Get dogs? Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you had to have express.
We have that dog in us.
I thought what I've been reading is that you just can't do anything without governmental permission in Canada. It's basically a communist former Soviet bloc.
4 more years of communism, baby.
Congrats, brother. Naming a dog before you've met it and have it in your home is weird. What are you bringing nameless dogs in your house, Peppertoni?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What are you calling? There's just an animal. That's just an animal if it doesn't have a name.
Yeah, you just call it dog.
You got to get a feel for it first. He's saying. I agree with
dog,
him.
get over here.
You got to sort of get a sense of the personality.
I've only ever had
like dog, pup.
I've only ever had shelter dogs before. So like all my other dogs I've ever had already had a name.
Had names.
This was the first time like my wife's cousin knows this gal who just like has a golden retriever and she has like 1 litter a year and sells them. So it was my first time ever like buying a dog, and I think in that scenario it comes preloaded with the name.
We only had 1 dog when I was a kid. I haven't got one since moving to BC, but yeah, like I had the name ready to go well before we got the dog. Took the dog home, called it by its name. Yeah,
the all-time dog name,
Nameless Dog, is a good band name.
Nice.
Nameless Dogs. The Nameless Dogs. You could do the Nameless Dogs. You could do Nameless Dog. Either way, it's really good.
Foo Fighters, love Foo Fighters.
Bill Simmons has a dog named Murphy, which actually is so.
Hey man, it's a great name.
Hey Bill, how's your dog doing?
Oh,
Murphy, we're trying to potty train her a little bit, but she's coming along.
Love Bill Simmons. Couldn't be a bigger.
All-time dog name, Stephen Wright. His dog's name, it's a joke, but his dog's name was Stay.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh, nice.
That is good.
Jaxson Dart, Tyler Shough, Jaylen Milroe. Question on the screen. Any of these quarterbacks draftable in best ball? Of course, Dart is.
Dart is very draftable, but not someone. Yeah, Shough is draftable, I guess, but I don't.
Is he the week 1 starter favorite?
Why?
In New Orleans?
Yeah, Nick Underhill said he would be absolutely shocked if Tyler Shough is not the week 1 starter.
He did?
Yeah.
Wow. Who else would it be?
Well, Derek Carr, but it seems like no.
But no, right? I mean, that's broken.
It's just over. It's just not happening.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's over. Like, but
there's more to that story. You're right.
I trust whatever is getting reported. So I think it's going to be Shough, and I think he sucks. But I do think he's draftable. I mean, if he's going to start week 1, and it's like we put it. I didn't even realize that you had his age at 43.
Good catch.
Oh man,
that's a good
job.
Derek Carr.
Yeah,
this is a good bit. Derek Carr spoke at his church this weekend and basically did the New Orleans Saints are the devil. The New Orleans Saints organization is the devil in my life, like holding me down, like a truly incredible bit.
Seriously?
Wow.
Basically
yes,
was
literally.
like, Lord, why are you giving me your toughest battles? Like he was like, why is this happening to me? Like, what have I done to deserve this?
His battle was being a New Orleans Saint, effectively.
Was this just we all, you're come on up, and if you have something to say here at church today, come on up, or is this like here's our invited guest, our special guest, Derek Carr?
I assume he goes to a mega church, so I assume it was like he was like the scheduled
mega and mega.
Yeah.
Is he a good get for a church as a speaker?
Sure, dude.
Derek Carr a good get?
I think he's a pretty good get. Yeah.
I wasn't going to go to church this week, but I am now because Derek Carr is speaking.
If my local church said that Derek Carr would be delivering a sermon, I'd go. I'd be interested to hear what
I would go. I would go check it out. Like
we need a leg up quarterback rankings. We need a leg up quarterback rankings based on how excited would you be if you heard they were speaking at your church this weekend?
I would bring my laptop and adjust the ranks as they were speaking. That's my promise to you. I would be in the views as Derek Carr rails on the Saints, lowering his odds of playing for the Saints. That's what
Honey, did you hear there's going to be an NFL quarterback speaking at church on Sunday? Oh, really? Who? Russ.
No,
Russ
I would skip
really
Russ.
low on my rankings.
I would skip Russ. I don't.
Do we have to go? Isn't there a picnic?
There has to be some uncertainty about what will happen, which is why Jaxson Dart is a good pick. Got us back on the rails. You see that?
Hey,
Jaxson Dart, he's starting at the end of the year. The whole organization's built around getting this guy on the field by the end of the year at this point.
Well, the whole organization is in two people. Like this is a for Dynasty, I'm pretty sketched about the landing spot because I think there's a chance that he plays like 6 games, isn't that good. They fire the only people who had investment in him, and they bring in a new GM who just summarily replaces him. But in best ball, you don't have to worry about any of that. So I agree. I think he starts sooner than later. They're the only two paths for Daboll to save his job is one, make the playoffs, or two, make Dart look so good that they want to keep him around to keep developing him.
Yeah.
So
which is a better path.
And that's a better path. And I think he probably is smart enough to know that's the better path. They said Russ is the starter. I'm sure he will be in week 1. But like once path 1 looks unlikely, which should be about by week 4.
Yep.
Then they have to go all in on path 2. So I think we get a lot of Dart this year.
It's good for everybody. I mean, Daboll can coach quarterbacks. So as bleak as it's looked for him overall, the Giants would never want to have to replace a coach going into year 2, new system, everything like that. You know, on some level, this bet is a bet on Daboll, I think. So I agree. I think he plays.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with Dart is like, when does he play? And then was it worth it eating zeros at one of your quarterback spots for that long? Because Dart's at risk of missing bye weeks of guys that you pair him with. So
yeah,
he could really be kind of a drag as far like you're taking a third quarterback to help with advance rate and stuff. Well, he's actually probably hurting you there. And then you get to the playoffs and now you get this 3-week period where it's like, do you roll a Dart in one of those 3 weeks? And he actually hits your lineup. And he's not like this super, super high upside type of guy. We're like last year with May. I'm like, I think this guy's awesome. Now the situation was so bad, it didn't end up working. But like Dart, I don't feel as like nearly as confident in the prospect. I don't hate it, but I don't think it's just not something I'm going into drafts thinking, oh, Jaxson Dart's like keep a spot open for Jaxson Dart or something like that. Like he's a fine way to add some late season upside, but I want to have a really solid quarterback room. I want to have like 2 guys like a Lawrence Purdy or something would be great, you know.
Totally
where you don't even need it.
Guy. Totally agree. Like last year I was going into drafts trying to build May stacks and Nick stacks. I'm not going to be doing that proactively, but it'll be a thing where on teams that I have Malik Neighbors already, if he happens to fit, I'm open. He'll be in my queue, and I'm open to tacking him on.
Yeah.
Milroe's chances of getting in?
I mean, I think low, but possible. Like I would say, I guess I would say probably it's like a 20% chance that he's starting by the team's choice in the playoffs, and then you maybe add another 10 to 15% for injury, and so probably you wind up with like a 1-in-3 shot that he starts the last 3 weeks of the season for either injury or choice reasons. And it's something. At least with Milroe, unlike Shough especially and Dart even, like if he's starting, right? If Sam Darnold was out for the year tomorrow and they announced Jalen Milroe as a starting quarterback for the season, he'd probably go where? Round 9? Round 8?
I mean, probably after Fields, but
a little later.
Yeah.
Go like,
okay. So round 10,
we weren't taking Daniels till like round 10, around 9, 10. So I think he'd go like 11, 12.
And this guy didn't win the Heisman. So
fair.
they did have a very popular draft with Eminwari in the second round, offensive line. Then him, you add Arroyo at tight end, who seem to be
Torrey Horton
and
all
Torrey
the
Horton.
Virgins. Yeah, and
This is going to seem
Ricky White.
This is going to seem unfair, but I really don't think it is. Like maybe from a ceiling perspective is. But if Jordan Love was out for the year and Malik Willis was announced as the starter, where would he go? Because I think it's the
devil. It's the devil you do know versus the devil you don't. We only think
you can dream on Milroe.
We know Malik Willis is bad.
Yeah, but we also know Malik Willis can operate the offense, and they'll play him, and they can win games with him. So like,
but they win games them throwing 11 passes.
Yeah, but like Milroe might be so bad that he gets benched for whoever the third stringer is.
Drew Lock.
Never mind.
He might be, yeah.
Howell traded.
But like you're not drafting Jalen Milroe worrying about if he might be bad. Like the only reason you're ever drafting Jalen Milroe.
I'm worried he might be bad if he was like an 11th or 12th round pick to that point. Sure. But yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Anyway, I'm probably not going to draft Milroe. I just don't think that I think it's too thin. Like we're saying, right? You're hoping for a roughly 1-3 outcome so that you get what would be a risky round 11 quarterback.
Yes.
For maybe a few games.
Yes.
So
yeah,
don't.
That was my whole point. It's still risky in the 11th round,
Yeah.
But yeah.
What? Not on the graphic, but what about Pittsburgh's? Is it Will Howard? Pittsburgh.
They're going to sign.
That's Aaron.
They're going to sign Rodgers, I think.
If they somehow don't, then maybe in like late August. I'll say on Milroe too. Like I'm not even drafting.
They would trade for Cousins, I think.
And Anthony Richardson is kind of the Milroe bet, and like almost certainly will start some games, and might start all 17 games. It's at least possible. And I don't even want to draft him at all. So like to me, Milroe's a materially worse. I mean, you could at least say maybe he's better than Anthony Richardson, but like it's probably a similar style of bet. With like
I think Richardson's like a way better pick. I think Richardson's a way better pick than Milroe, because the thing with Richardson is, so he's going now in the 170s. We're like 10 spots behind ADP, but like in a situation where he might, be there if you need that third quarterback or whatever is, a little boost of upside. He gives you kind of upside. I don't know when he's playing this year, and I know he's not going to play all the games most likely, but he could spike for you in a really helpful way. Like he could be a weirdly good advance rate piece if you use him as a third quarterback. And then who knows? Like he could be one of the guys who starts for you in weeks 15, 16, or 17. So he's so cheap, and you don't have. It's not like this. You're not having to like open your third eye and see like the Seahawks missing the playoffs and Jalen Milroe's their starter now. Like he's just in a competition with Daniel Jones, and they're both going to make starts this year in the vast majority of outcomes. So, and when he plays, he scores pretty well.
Tyler Shough, age 43. To be 43 again. Imagine Aaron Rodgers speaking at your church. By the way, imagine Aaron Rodgers speaking at your church.
Oh God, that would be insufferable.
Let's move to a new church. I'm out. Zach made
Aaron
some.
Rodgers would be speaking at the Church of Scientology.
Yeah. Zach made some graphics on the rookies, just like some spreadsheet stuff. You want to take a quick look and maybe rip through these, starting with the running backs ranked by draft capital. And then you have Pat's leg up rankings also shown there, age, production, PFF, everything. Who was the best? What do I want to ask? Who was the best running back pick? Tootin in early 4 is really fun and complicated.
Yeah.
That's very fun.
Tootin was the best pick, best use of draft capital from the team, immediate usage. I also think DJ Giddens.
DJ Giddens was who I was
pretty
going to
smart.
say.
Just
why couldn't they have swapped running backs with the Cowboys though? Like
for
Colts
sure,
could have a fun little pass down back. The Cowboys would get a plausible workhorse. Like, oh God,
I know it doesn't. Make any sense.
Cowboys have a plausible workhorse, buddy.
Hey, Jacob, where did DJ Giddens go?
Kansas State University.
And where did Jayden Blue go?
Texas. But Dallas just drafted a running back from Kansas State last year. It was a nepo running back.
I've already had one person pull up in my YouTube comments being like, dude, it's Deuce Vaughn season. I'm like, dude, his dad couldn't even make him a thing on a team that couldn't win. Although we did get one game of the Trey Lance Deuce Vaughn backfield. I got
leg
another
up ranking on Jayden Blue, because we gotta have that. This is ridiculous. That's got to go way up.
I've got him in the one.
I know that I'm in an enviable position of not having rankings yet, so I just get to criticize other people's hard work.
It's actually helpful to help.
But like Jayden Blue, like I understand that he isn't really a running back, kind of in the same way we're talking about Woody Marks. I think he's less not a real running back than Woody Marks. Like he has some decent metrics as a runner, and he's also really fast, and he's a legitimately awesome receiving back. I thought he was the best receiving back in the class. And he's competing with 2 total dust balls. And I get there's still Chubb out there. There's still Dobbins out there. I think teams like the Bears, I think teams like the Chiefs are more of a threat to sign those guys. I think Dallas is like so ambivalent towards the position that I actually think the most likely, definitely not a certain, but I would say like in 60 to 70% of scenarios, their running back depth chart in week 1 is Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, and Jayden Blue. And to me, Blue should go the highest of the bunch. I would love to take that bet on Jayden Blue. Like I know those other guys are not NFL players at all. If Blue is going to go like at this range, he'd be my highest drafted player in the whole tournament.
Yep.
All right. So I found your argument engaging and convincing, and I actually moved him up into the late 150s. But Shough is pulling up a Sporkle, so I don't think. Yeah, Shough's just zoning out playing Sporkle. So
I'm just planning ahead. Davis didn't get to play map chasing last time.
So
that's all I'm doing. I'm listening. I'm listening.
One post to the other.
I'm listening.
Yeah, 158. I think because the thing about Blue is. He's not going to really add anything for you at the beginning of the season. Like maybe he is immediately kind of the passing down back, but I don't know. Like they could in a way that like matters for fantasy. That's the part where I'm like, he might have to earn it over time. And then what he earns is like not particularly high upside. He's probably like a rotational guy, but
why can't he be Rico Dowdle? You were the Rico Dowdle guy last year.
He can definitely be Rico Dowdle, Pat.
Why can't he be Tyrone Tracy from last year, but on the Cowboys?
I think he can be Rico Dowdle too, but isn't that a 2030 concern?
Okay.
If you're Rico Dowdle, it takes until year 4.
Got it.
The more legit comp is like Tyrone Tracy was also kind of like a more athlete than running back. Fun kind of profile, though. Goes in round 5, played next to Singletary. I mean, Singletary is better than Javonte and Miles Sanders. But Blue gets to do it on the Cowboys. Like, why couldn't he be Tracy? Why couldn't he start getting work early?
Dowdle's like 216 pounds. He literally weighs 20 pounds more than Blue. Dowdle was Dowdle was built for what Dowdle became, but Jayden Blue's like a passing down back. I don't know. I mean, maybe he could be like the Bucky. Maybe he's
exactly.
Bucky.
He could be.
I mean, he's not Bucky, but like he could be.
The problem is he's just like not Bucky at all, and Bucky was like a better prospect. Bucky was one of those guys who like popped in my stuff, and I was like, yeah, but he's small. Yeah, like I've been rug pulled on this guy so many times. Blue does not pop. Blue does not really pop for me at all. He looks like a satellite back.
He doesn't for me either, but like I do think he's at least good at a thing. Like I do think he's a legitimately good passing down back, and that should get him on the field. And on any other backfield, like I would be dismissive of him doing anything more than that. But like I don't know, if it were my team and it was like, well, my choices are a guy who's undersized and isn't really an early down back, but he's really fast and he can catch the ball, or I can play the worst running backs in the NFL. And it's like I would rather play like the incomplete fast guy than a guy who just had like 3.4 yards per carry behind the league's best ranked run blocking offensive line.
That was a pretty convincing argument.
They did
I actually think I might even rather have Miles Sanders than Javonte. I don't understand the Javonte price at all. He was the worst running back in the league for 2 years.
You guys, the thing that we all really need to do a better job of is running back points for these guys who are all at best replacement level are effectively random and based on the whims of the coaching staff. So if they want to give the ball to Javonte 210 times, I mean, we're talking about the same coaching staff that
it's like the argument for Zeke last year.
Right, but Zeke at pick 150 is fine. That's a winning pick.
It wasn't fine. It wasn't a winning pick. He did nothing last year.
Well, he got cut. What did Zeke do? So Zeke,
well, Jacob, that's only because he got cut.
Zeke totally dead last year. But if you got his 2023 stats where he generated 955 yards and 5 touchdowns, perfectly cromulent at the prices for any of these guys.
It's hard to know, as you're saying. Receivers. I love how Pat was like right dead in the. He's listening to Jacob. Jacob's making all the Jayden Blue arguments and everything like that, and then Pat's like, "Ooh, map."
That's what you did. You
no, I didn't put it on the screen.
And I was like, wow, this is really. Man, I hadn't considered this. That I had just see Sporkle pop up. Well,
you were so ready.
I'm listening closer to the show.
Let's go. Where is Tonga?
Where's Tonga? Oh God.
Would
you take him? You're not taking him ahead of like the 150s, though, are you? Blue?
Why not?
I will take him in the 150s.
Yeah, I'll take him.
No, but ahead of that, I mean, that's where I got him into the 150s.
I'll take him ahead of that when I have to take him ahead of that. Okay. I don't have to yet, so I'll cross that bridge.
That's a
Blue. The argument is simply that we know Miles Sanders and Javonte have no juice. Blue's probably a bad player, but he might not be. He might. He's the only one who has any juice. So he's the only one who has the ability to add anything dynamic to the run game. And sometimes that's convincing to coaches. Sometimes it isn't.
Wide receivers. We've talked about a few of them. Not much on what Houston did with Higgins and Noel. How do you look at that one?
I thought that was smart. I think Christian Kirk is like the worst pick on the board right now.
Shocking
and even
say that.
Well, even if Christian Kirk starts the year as a starter, is he ending it? He's outplaying both these guys. I think very little chance.
I do love that Davis is like 2 minutes ago. It's like, look, man, I get Javonte and Miles Sanders are the worst running backs in the league, but like they'll probably just keep playing him. But now it's Christian Kirk, and you're like, they got to get this guy off the field. Like,
well, the Texans actually. So key difference here: the Cowboys games will have no stakes because they're a bad team and they'll be out of it. The Texans games are going to have stakes. These are going to be a week 10 Texans game is going to matter. The Cowboys are going to have like 3 wins in week 10.
Really?
I think I'm just going to do what I always do with the Cowboys. I'm just going to ping pong, like 2 years ago, everybody said they were hopeless and bad, and I was all in. Last year, people were like, oh, it'll be fine. I was like, actually, it's pretty fragile. This year, people are hopeless again. I'm back in on the Cowboys this year. Like I'm just going to ping pong with them. Texans, I tend to agree. I think I've always liked Christian Kirk more than is responsible to do, but
Pat, throw the receiver slide up there if you would, so we can.
Oh, my bad.
Take a look at that. Sorry, Jacob.
Yeah, no, I agree with Davis. I was giving him a hard time, but I agree that Christian Kirk is a high risk pick. And what reward are you getting for the risk? 5 catches for 61 yards on a half PPR site is probably not worth that risk.
So how do they line up? How do they line up week 1 on offense?
Kirk slot, Collins X, Higgins flanker, I'm guessing.
Yep.
That's what I think.
Noel is going to have to try to work
in.
on. I mean, Noel has 2 paths, right? The paths are, 3, I guess. 1 is anyone gets injured. 2 is Higgins is a bust, so they eventually let him try it out. And then 3 is he passes Kirk.
Mm-hmm. Davis, how do you feel about? Go ahead.
I think that week 1 could look like Higgins is out there playing some flanker, kicks into the slot a little bit. Kirk moves outside, plays some flanker, and then Noel's in that mix too. And you kind of have like Kirk is the functional wide receiver 2 with like 70-ish% route participation, and the other guys are like in a committee as they sort of sort it out. Higgins leading, but like you'd have as we think about like the normal ramp up period for rookie wide receivers, it's usually that it's like a veteran coming down and a rookie coming up, but like they could just like throw both the rookies out there and give them little chunks of combined role in a sense.
Davis, how do you feel about Royals?
I mean, I feel about Royals that there's going to be a lot of people who are really excited. There was a quote going around yesterday where Veach was like, "Oh, Rice working back from an injury. We're really excited." The top comp in JJ Zachary's Zap prospecting model for Jalen Royals was Rashee Rice. He's going to be the Chiefs' wide receiver, rotational wide receiver 5. He's not a good pick, but it's fun. It's fun to think about what if.
You guys may have seen.
I think it's one thing if you want to toss a round 3 dynasty dart at like a 309. I don't think he should be a best ball consideration.
I would rather
he's ripping it up in camp and he's gonna I want to hear good news on him.
Oh, you'll get that. It's the Chiefs. There will be a highlight the first day.
I'd rather use my Copia or my Hopium pick on a Chiefs day 3 guy on Brashard Smith.
Mm-hmm. You guys see what happened at WGR, my radio station yesterday, where the Bills GM called in and kind of went off?
He was mad.
I just saw that. Yeah.
I heard about it. What happened?
So our morning show has been, if you will, driving what they call the wide receiver train for a few years now. And we've had many conversations about it, whether the Bills have invested enough at wide receiver. And I feel like after this draft where they went, again, heavy defense, no wide receiver until pick 240. And he was hearing criticism of it as he was waiting on hold to go on for a scheduled appearance. And he got on and he's like, "You guys bitching about this?" I mean, he just lost it. And he's just had it with people, I guess, talking about how they haven't done more at receiver. It's that, but also how they've done with the investments they've made. That's Coleman, that's Kincaid. And, you have the Bills trading with Kansas City, where the Chiefs make the worthy pick, not to mention the Mahomes pick in 2017. And they've lost to Kansas City in the playoffs 4 times in 5 years. And I think, he kind of broke yesterday, Brandon Beane. So that conversation didn't go away yesterday, to say the least.
No.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
I mean, I think it's a smart real life pick by the Chiefs for sure. I mean, Royals is kind of like, he's like a gadget guy plus deep threat, where you're like, I don't know, can he be like a real receiver and earn targets? But gadget player plus deep threat is like exactly what the Chiefs need, and he could start ahead of Hollywood by the end of the year. That would not shock me.
I would have loved it here. The Bills have drafted one receiver.
You got 2 developmental blocking tight ends. It's fine.
I know.
I don't know what you're mad about.
Top 100 picks under this regime, 1 wide receiver, 8 defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm. What can you do?
One more slide, right?
We're not playing fantasy football, Shough.
That's what he said. This is not fantasy football, right? We don't want.
I see that you left Kyle Williams off of your sheet. By the way, I assume that's because you want to suppress an ADP for
this
even
isn't
more
my sheet. I was getting criticized. I literally went and checked. I was like, "Is Kyle Williams?" I don't know. Kyle Williams is here. He's in the ranks.
Not your sheet. All right, someone else's sheet.
Yeah. Jack whipped these together. We appreciate
Kyle
that.
Williams. We're ahead on. You won't be surprised to learn we're ahead on Kyle Williams.
That's stunning to me. Yeah.
Tight ends quickly. Mason Taylor. I mean, tight end premium. Is he a first round pick?
What?
No.
I've got him pretty high.
Pretty close.
How come the Ferg dog isn't higher than Mason Taylor and all these other guys?
Because he might not start.
He's also was like a weirdo
start?
Prospect. Tyler Higbee.
No.
They're starting tight end.
No.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Higbee just started like the whole year.
That was their first. Ferguson was their first pick of the draft. Athletic, fun tight end.
The Rams have never, ever not just jammed in a second round pick to their starting lineup. That's never
never happened in the history of the Rams. Tutu Atwell, as we know, has been their starting.
Tutu Atwell famously started right away.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson had long careers with the Los Angeles Footballing Rams. Corum, great pick last year, was a huge part of their playoff run.
Ferguson's like a whatever prospect as well. Like he's not like some great tight end prospect who comes in. The whole bet's draft capital, and they have a guy who plays the position. I don't know. I'm kind of a believer when I see it mode on Ferguson is starting like a lot this year. I think maybe he takes over the job at the end of the season, but it's best ball. Like I'm not that interested in like an okay tight end prospect. Kind of, but honestly, okay is nice. Maybe starting by the end of the year. Like I don't know.
Jacob, for Dynasty. Sorry, for Dynasty, Jacob, how do you rank the tight ends after Warren then?
Yeah. So I have Loveland, Warren, obviously. And then I have Fan in third, but the market decidedly does not.
Yeah, the market is ready to stuff you in a locker, Jacob.
I have now. I'm thinking while everybody else doing best ball ranks. I know where my niche bread is buttered, so I now have a sheet with every conceivable format of dynasty rankings that you can tab across, and that also includes my market adjusted rankings, which I will update each day as ADP changes. So in those, I have Ferguson as tight end 3 because I would like to get some shares of Terrence Ferguson, and you just won't ever get one if you draft Harold Fannin straight up ahead of him every time. But then I have Taylor 5 and I have Arroyo 6. Pat will be pleased to know that he's won the war. I have Harold Fannin listed as a 3x target exposure player. It's my highest target exposure of every single player in my ranking set, but by a lot. Also, because like I think I just spent so much time in the Harold Fannin echo chamber that I thought I'd have to spend like the 204 on this guy, but I don't. I can get him at like 305 whenever I want, and I want. So he's just my auto pick in the 3rd round every single draft. I'm going to draft the shit out of Harold Fannin.
Can he be useful as a rookie? Like, do you think there's
away? Maybe. Absolutely. I mean, the Deontay thing complicates it a little bit, but I assume he's going to get himself put into like an institution by August 14th, and then we don't have to worry about that.
Deontay doesn't complicate anything. Let's be honest. This dude's career is over. What does he complicate? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because
I have to
prior to the
Deontay,
they only had
to go do the Swolecast, so you guys can continue arguing. I did just want to say,
have a hard
last call.
Aronde Gadsden.
Yeah.
My last call. You know,
we can jump to that.
It's a good bit. I'll take Aronde Gadsden, a 5th round rookie tight end. Why not?
Nice.
Love it.
I gotta go though. Later, boys.
See ya. Let's jump to last call. Davis never thought the show would go this long. Apparently, like, just what do we do? He looked at the clock. What happened to ADP chase? ADP chasing is back. So map or no map?
The list of who we've taken yet? Oh, we do. Sweet.
We do. Davis is in with Aronde Gadsden. I'm ready, unless you guys want to go in front of me.
I have mine ready to rock.
I always
you can go first, Shough.
Do mine.
Rashard Smith. Rashard Smith.
Why did I let you go first? God damn it.
I'm glad I asked and not just said it. Rashard Smith.
Yes. I can tell you exactly how the Rashard Smith arc is going to go. He's going to be drafted at around pick 200 for a while. Then we're going to get a bunch of content from Chiefs rookie camp about how great he's doing. It's just going to go up and up and up and up. Then eventually his ADP is going to peak at like 141. And then on like August 31st, they'll be like, we have traded a 7th round pick for Travis Etienne. And then he'll go back down to 200. Because that's what happens with every Chiefs back. They get hyped, and then they sign someone else's trash at the last minute. But I was still super pumped to take him. Now Pat's got it. I got to figure out another pick. I got to rethink my whole life.
All right, I'm gonna build out a little stack here. I took Troy Franklin. I'll take Pat Bryant.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right. Round 3 to Denver.
I'm gonna commit to the bet. I already took Aaron Rodgers. I already took Amari Cooper. I was gonna take Rashard Smith, but I've been backed into a corner. I have no choice. I'll take Deontay Johnson.
No, take him. Come on, man. Man, Jack Bech was a good pick. That was nice.
Yeah. I mean, we go back and forth.
That's the best pick, I think.
Performance art and taking real picks.
I hate my team, but this maybe today was a step
I
forward.
hate my team too, I feel better when I look at your team and Davis's team.
Yeah, you should.
Aaron Rodgers' stock is up. after the Steelers drafted no one. That makes me think he's going there.
Yeah, your team's legit could put up some points. I think you're the favorite.
But, I got Amari Cooper and Deontay Johnson, so that's probably helping you guys out a little bit more.
Good thing we could slow you down today.
Yeah.
All right. Pat, what's the plan for the rest of the week? I know Thursday, ship chasing Thursday.
Ship chasing Thursday. Yep. Yeah, and I'm going to do some streaming in the next few days, jumping on, doing some Best Ball Mania drafts and all that.
Nice.
So look for that.
You guys were talking about teaming up with Davis for a dynasty one. Yeah,
that's right. Do we have a time for that? We have to figure out.
We don't yet, but we'll figure that out. It's going to happen soon.
For sure. And then we've got Best Ball rankings. They're updated daily. LegendaryUpside.com. Still just $10 a month. Probably going to raise the monthly price at some point this offseason, but not yet. So if you want to jump in and grab those, you can. We've got DraftKings rankings up that we launched yesterday as well. Those will be updated daily as well, uploadable to the site, of course. And then if you want the dynamic rankings version, we got a tool called the Sidekick over at legendaryupside.com/sidekick. You can check that out as well.
Jacob?
Thinking we're still in rookie mode right now. So like I said, we have now updated. We've got overall dynasty rankings update with all the rookies included. We got Superflex, tight end premium, Superflex non-tight end premium, one quarterback. We have 2 tight end rankings. All of the sicko thinking about things subscribers have been nagging me in the comments. When are you going to have 2 tight end rankings? We have 2 tight end rookie rankings for you absolute sick people. And then market adjusted ranks, target exposures. I'm going to have my rookie draft walkthrough posted in a day or two, which is basically I go through rookie drafts and target basically pick by pick with ADP, where I want to trade up to, down from, out of, etc., to sort of build out my target exposure to the class as a whole. And then that will kind of conclude the rookie draft season portion of Dynasty coverage. Then we'll get best ball rankings up probably this weekend.
Okay. You can find me on the Odyssey app, hosting at WGR Sports Radio 550 in Buffalo, weekdays from 3 to 7, as I've been doing for 22 years. At this point, it's been an eventful week. It was said in the Discord that our show, or at least our station, is the ship chasing of sports radio. And I took that as a tremendous compliment.
Wow.
I force a lot of fantasy in there.
You did have a GM say this isn't fantasy football on
yeah.
And when I rose up against that, it was like, of course, Shough, you would. But I mean, we do as much fantasy content as we can. Chris Trapasso will be on with us tomorrow to recap the draft. So please find me there. And I withdraw my offer to jump in on your Dynasty stream, because then it would be this show. So
many shows are often kind of just other shows, so that's
you can't have the exact
when you had
same
suggested
team.
it, I had originally forgot that I do have to eventually go to work today, and I was like, well, should we just record till for 4 hours, just cut it in half, and then do the Dynasty version?
Let's just crash the Swolecast and we'll do it there.
I know I can't wait to watch it. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Pat, Jacob, Davis. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. We will see you next week here on ADP Chasing.